Hi YouTube! So I wanted to do a book haul today. I went to a secondhand bookstore recently and picked up a few things. And I also made an order from Book Outlet. And I got a bunch of things that were really cool, so I wanted to show them to you. So let's get started. These are all the books that I got from Book Outlet. First book I got is called Good Kings, Bad Kings. And from what I gathered from the description, this is about disability. I think it's a really interesting topic to write about and to read about, so I think I'll really enjoy this one. The next book I got is a classic. Well, for me it's a classic, but it's Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. And I read this when I was in 6th grade, so quite some time ago, and I really wanted to give it a reread and see if it's relevant to me today. And I love this story. I think it's really interesting. I think I'll even get more out of it now than maybe I did before. So, and I also really like this cover. It's pretty gorgeous. The next book is called Atlas of Love by Lori Frankel. I do know that it's about a girl who gets pregnant in college and how she deals with that. And I'm in college now, and no, I'm not pregnant, but I do think that this could be a really interesting read with a character who's around my age. So, the next book I got is Daughters of Rome, and this is the sequel to Mistress of Rome, which I already own and have read before. And I really enjoyed the other one. I read it a while ago, so I don't quite remember exactly what happens. So I'm excited to reread that one and then get back into this one because I remember really enjoying it, but I don't really remember the plot. So yeah, that should be a good one. The next book is called The Mapmaker's War, and this is by Ronlyn Dominique? I'm not sure. But this one looks like a really cool fantasy. It's a short read. It's only about, it's about that long, a short read. So it's a fantasy story about a woman who becomes the apprentice of a map maker. And I think stories that have maps in them anyway are usually really exciting and a really cool adventure. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. The next book I got from Book Outlet is How I Live Now by Meg Rossoff. And I saw Ariel Bassett talking about this one during the Booktubeathon, and she really enjoyed this one, so I thought I'd pick it up and give it a try as well. It's super short. It's really a quick read, and also I was reluctant, honestly, to pick it up because I really didn't like the other cover that they had. It just didn't seem like my style, but I saw this cover and I love it, and so I thought that this would be a really cool a good thing to get. So there you go. The next book I got is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. And this one, I've been seeing a lot of booktubers talk about it. It's a fantasy story. I don't know much else about it, but I like fantasy. I did hear mixed reviews. I know that Reagan from Peru's Project, she likes the story but thinks there's better fantasy out there, so I'm not sure if this will be the next one I'll read, but I want to get around to it eventually because I think it sounds interesting. So the next book I got is called Snow on the Tulips, and this is by Liz Tolsma. I haven't heard that many people talking about this one. It just seemed interesting to me. It's historical fiction, takes place around World War II, which is one of my absolute favorite time periods to read historical fiction from. So I'm really excited to read this one. I want to kind of go into it blind, not really knowing the story, but I do know that it's set in a time period that I really enjoy. The next book I got, I'm not really sure if I'm going to like it or not. It didn't get fantastic reviews on Goodreads, but you never know, that might not mean anything. But it's called Heading Out to Wonderful, and it's by Robert Goulrick. He wrote A Reliable Wife, which I read and really enjoyed. It wasn't like the best book in the world, but I still really enjoyed it, and so I'm hopeful that I will like this book of his, Heading Out to Wonderful, and I also just love the cover art. I think it's really very interesting. The next book I got is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. And I really like this edition because I was reading on the back, it has a foreword by Neil Gaiman, and of course I'm obsessed with Neil Gaiman, so I want to hear anything he has to say. And I'm excited to read this. I know it's a classic. I don't actually know much about it, but I know it's a classic. The next book I got, I'm really excited about. I think this might be the next one that I will read, and it's called Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend, and this is by Matthew Dix. And this one just looks so interesting. It's about a little boy who has an imaginary friend. Of course, when I was little, I had an imaginary friend too, so I can totally relate. And this little boy, people think he might have Asperger's, might be on the spectrum of autism, and they think this has a lot to do with his imaginary friend, but I think that there's going to be more to that story. So I'm really excited to read this one. I think it's going to be really interesting. The last book I got from the book outlet is Serafina by Rachel Hartman, and I picked this one up because I saw Katrina Little Book Owl. I saw that she's currently reading this one, and it looks like a really cool fantasy book with the dragons and all sorts of fun things, and so I thought I would pick it up and read it. Looks good. These next few books I got from a secondhand bookstore, and I found some really cool finds, so I'm really excited about them. The first one is Memoirs of a Teenage Amnesiac by Gabrielle Zevin. And I have heard a lot of really great things about this one. I'm guessing it's about, I see on the cover there's like a typewriter here, so maybe it has something to do with that, but I know it has something to do with amnesiac, or somebody who lost their memory, which is a really cool concept. I really like those sorts of films and books, because I can't even imagine if that would happen to me. I think that would be so difficult. So I think seeing how people deal with those sorts of situations, I think, is really interesting. The next book I got is a book that I wasn't really planning on reading. I wasn't sure because it got mixed reviews. I know that a lot of people really enjoyed this book, but I didn't know if I wanted to get into a whole series right now. So, but I saw it at the secondhand bookstore and it was very cheap, and I figured why not just pick up the first one and see if I like it, and then I'll continue on if I do like it. And it's City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. And of course, most people know what this one's about. It's the first in the Mortal Instruments series. They had the first two books there, but I thought that I would just get the first one and see how I feel about it. It has a little blurb by Stephanie Meyer on the front, which I think says some good things about the book. So yeah, we'll see how I feel about this one. I probably won't get to it right away because I'm really enjoying the Throne of Glass series right now. So we'll see how I feel about that. The next book I got is another one that is a classic, and because I want to kind of amp up my classics collection, and I've been wanting to read more classics lately, and this is one that I'm very interested in. So it's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, of course, by Robert Louis Stevenson. And this is a really cool, interesting copy. It has like a really eerie cover picture to it. It's part of the Barnes & Noble Classic series book covers. So I don't know. I think that this could be a nice read. Usually I tend to read sort of creepier books around Halloween time, but I don't know. I could read it in the winter and see whether it's still eerie. The next two books I got, I don't know much about, but they're these beautiful hardcover books, and I looked up on Goodreads to see if they've got, reasonable reviews, so I could feel confident reading them and I won't probably hate them. So the first one I got is called The Memory of Running, and this is by Ron McClarty, and it's in beautiful condition, hardcover again, and I just think the cover is gorgeous. I know it's not really the reason to get a book, but I think this is really a great cover. And even the sides here have like that starry thing to it. So I'm excited to see what this one has in store. Okay, the last book I got is another hardcover book that I know very little about, but I kind of want to go into it blind, and I got it because it's just a really gorgeous copy, hardcover, and it got good reviews, and so I want to try it out. Also, this author also wrote the story, the book Midwives, and I really like that. This one's called The Sandcastle Girls, and it's by Chris Bojalian. I'm sorry if I totally butchered that. Ooh. But this one looks really good. Again, I love the cover on this. It is just like really beautiful, and it has like the gold raised print, and then on the side it has the black and gold. Yeah, and on the back has like the black and gold pattern as well. I don't know, I just think it's so gorgeous, and it looks like an interesting story, just from the blurb I read. It doesn't say much about it, but I think that I'll enjoy this one, hopefully. Okay, that's it for my book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I always enjoy buying books and showing them to you. If you have any video requests, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!